let's start out with a little experiment. All I want you to do is just shout out the first thing that comes to your mind when I say this word. Peanut butter.
Jelly.
Okay, good. I was hoping you would say jelly. Makes it a lot less awkward for me, and also for my parents, who I told to yell jelly. Okay, so what's my point of doing this? Word association tasks like this actually help us to show how our brain is connected. It shows how complex those connections are and how we need them for our everyday life. But what happens when those connections aren't working or are otherwise illogical? OCD is a great example of this, and that's something I've been diagnosed with since 5th grade. So let's go back to the 5th grade here. I was sitting at the lunch table, minding my own business, and all of a sudden I had this intrusive and anxiety-provoking thought. If I don't eat the rest of these apple slices, my parents are going to get cancer and die. Of course, I realized illogical, doesn't make sense. But I was so fear-stricken by that thought, so I figured, okay, I better eat these apples as fast as I can. And so that's exactly what I did. But what happened here? What I had was OCD. The obsessions, which are the thoughts that are intrusive and anxiety-provoking, usually irrational. So that would be the thought of my parents getting cancer. And then you have your compulsions, which are your rituals, some people will call them. And that was the actual act of eating the apples. And the compulsions serve as sort of a pact with the devil, you can call it, where it doesn't make sense. There isn't really a connection there. But the thought process is that if you do that compulsion, it's going to get rid of that anxiety and hopefully stop the obsession. Unfortunately, it's not true. It actually makes the behaviors worse. So Dr. Tamar Chansky explains this really well. She says sometimes there is a meaningful connection between the obsession and the compulsion, but other times there isn't. That's not the important connection that we want to focus on for treatment. What we actually want to focus on are your feelings, your actions, and your thoughts, and your relationship to them. My younger cousin has dubbed this the fat trio, and so that's how I'm going to refer to it from now on. So we'll start off with actions. With OCD, the first base treatment line that you want to go for is exposure therapy. Now, it sounds counterintuitive, but you actually work your way up through a hierarchy like I've demonstrated on the slide. And what you want to do is you actually want to face your fears slowly, and you build up gradually. So you don't complete those rituals, those compulsions, and that actually enables you to better diminish your obsessions. Another quick and easy way that you can work on helping your actions serve as impacting your thoughts and your feelings is by finding meaning and purpose in your life. And so one of those things that you can do is find something that you're passionate about. So for me here on campus, that was a student organization, Active Minds. And I found a lot of great people through that, and what we get to do is work to change the conversation about mental health. Thoughts. What you want to do with these is you want to change your relationship with them. Now what I mean by that is you actually want to distance yourself from your thoughts. Label them. My positive psych professor here at Stockton, Dr. Spinella, gave us a great example of that. So when we're worrying, tell yourself, okay, worrying's happening now. Rumination is happening now. So when you're driving, you can't find a parking spot, you get stuck in traffic, literally tell yourself, okay, anger's happening now, frustration's happening now. Might not always work, but it's one step forward. And then feelings. Feelings are often a lot harder to interact with and change directly. So you sort of have to do it with an indirect form. One way to do this for me is humor. On the way up here today, my dad was constantly talking about how he's going to yell out other things besides jelly. And of course I was nervous, going to just talk in front of a big group, but that actually helped me calm down. And then another good way is find your flow, which is just a fancy word for when you find an activity that you enjoy and it helps time just disappear. For me, that's art and writing. Of course, go out into nature. We're surrounded by the pinelands here at Stockton. It's part of the reason why I came here. Connect to that. And of course, smile more. Another main important thing that you can do to change your feelings is to connect with others. Of course, it's a double-edged sword because it doesn't always work. But I've had, luckily, a great connection with my parents, with my family members, with teachers and professors. A vice principal in middle school who did his research, knew what he was doing. I wouldn't stop at anything to see me succeed. So how can we show you this is actually working? One way is to look at the neuron. Dr. Daniel Reisberg explains that it's actually the change in the synaptic connection strength that is your biological basis for learning. But you can also see it on a more easier and structural level as well. So you can take a look at a PET scan before and after therapy, and you'll actually see a reduction in overactive areas of the brain because, of course, OCD is a brain disorder, so you can see that. And it actually shows you that those connections that you're making through the fat trio are making a difference. And so I leave you with one final thought. Find those connections that are going to make you thrive, regardless of what they are. We're all just trying to be happy in this crazy world, and are a lot more connected than we think. So stay connected. Thank you.